how can generative AI support the customer experience process and workflows, right? We talked about a lot about how to be in the center. We talked a lot about how we keep the humans, keep people, customers, employees involved. How can generative AI help some of those specific CX workflows and processes? And Jenny, we'll start with you.
Sure. Yeah. Well, first of all, customer experience is happening whether you're focused on workflow or not. Like, that's something I think we sometimes forget. But, your customers are having an experience at every step along their journey with your brand. And it's also their choice to continue on that journey when they're actually, moving forward. And so we sometimes act like this is a very linear process. We can just paint the picture and they march through the journey. But really, we have to think about what is it that we have to do on the inside of our organizations in order to deliver that customer experience. So, generative AI allows us to really connect dots for the customer on behalf of them in ways that we haven't been able to before. So, we talked about how, customers have told us again and again they want to be recognized for who they are, they want to be seen and heard for where they are on the journey. Meaning that if I've had a chat with a bot on your site and then I call customer service, I want them to know exactly what I just said in that chat. And so
Ooh.
one of the things that I think we forget is that the people that we call, it's not their fault. They don't have the right information at their fingertips. Now, these tools, we can think about what is it that we can put in front of the folks who are serving customers. So, for example, in a contact center, you might have somebody right now who has to find the perfect search term to find the right answer for a customer. Even though they're on the phone with their customer, they're talking to them. They don't have all that information unless they can find it the right way. Now, with natural language processing and AI, they might be able to ask it exactly like the customer asked it and get not only the information for how to answer that, but also who is this customer? What have they purchased in the past? What should I know about them? And all of that is just such a more personalized, meaningful way to serve a customer. So, really looking for those points along the journey that we can tweak the workflow just a little to provide the people who are serving customers the right information in the right moment in the right way so that they can do a better job with the customer experience.
Very nice. Very nice. Vin, what are your thoughts, brother?
Yeah, I think it's back to the marketing side of this. You say we want to grab their attention and put the perfect message in front of them. We want to engage them, and experience is happening all the time. What it really boils down to is every company wants this sort of addictive product, this thing that people can't get away from, this marketing that goes viral. Uh, what's different about generative AI, and especially the interfaces and agents, they're habit forming. And there's a difference here.
Ooh.
The addiction is, you're doing this for some irrational reasons. Your customers are sort of almost cult like, but that's not what you really want because there's no alignment there with customer needs. Habits are better aligned because they're actions people choose to adopt intentionally. They see the benefits of it. And that's really experience, is that alignment. And with generative AI agents and interfaces, I've been part of some really early trials, and there's a really just consistent theme of generative AI products are habit forming. And if we do the design component right, again, putting that person, putting the user, putting the customer at the center, putting their needs at the center and creating an alignment, but also designing so that we don't put friction in front of all of these different products that we're rolling out with generative AI, you create habit forming experiences. And it is really choose your spots where you have an AI enabled experience and it wasn't possible with other technologies. Those are the highest returning opportunities. So look for places where you couldn't serve your customer in the past, that now when you look at AI, you say, whoa, wait a minute, we can do something here. Those are, again, back to that broadsword versus the scalpel approach. Those are the targeted areas where you create a competitive advantage because you're delivering experiences. You're delivering in ways that other companies can't. Your competitors will be behind you. And look at pragmatic implementations. Really be guided by what is being delivered, not the hype that's being promised, because it's so easy to get wrapped up in it. But stay grounded. Look at things like Copilot. SAP's got Joule. There's tons of these examples that are out there, and you'll see more and more rolling out where we are going to be capable of delivering experiences in a completely new way. So avoid the hype, think a little bit simpler, but look for those opportunities to deliver value in brand new ways, but ways that are aligned with customer needs, ways that are habit forming versus addictive.
Nice. I love that. Habit forming solutions like that. I think for marketers and like salespeople, they're like, how can we create more habit forming for our users, right? Kristen, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, and I absolutely love what you said, Vin. Competitive advantage through customer experience in a new way. And
Ooh.
and it is a new way, but it's the same problem we've already had, right? Like this is an up level. 10 years ago, we were still doing retention models where we'd understand who was the highest risk and we'd want to reach out to those people at the right time. Like we've always been trying to solve for how can we improve our workflows and processes to try and address the right problems at the right time. And again, it goes back to, doing the full analysis and understanding in your onboarding process, in your return and exchanges, in your order processing, where are these opportunities that we have where we can make the customer experience more seamless, where we can remove potentially human interaction that's not necessary, but really deliver a tailored, personalized experience. And then figuring out, when we look at this, what are our highest needs at that time, and then inserting the solution to solve the problem rather than the other way around.
Yeah, and I love that point, right? And I think it's all about like creating like a seamless, and this is where I like my biggest, and I want to get into the next question, right? And this will kick it off. I think of use cases for generative AI in the customer experience, right? And I want the panel to be thinking about that. I think one of the biggest use cases that can enable sales, marketing, CX professionals is around that data side, right? And Kristen, you kind of talked about this a little bit, right? You talked about this in a sense of, hey, how can we like maybe the team, right? We're really involved with, we're keeping the customers at the center, we're involving our employees and customers through focus groups, we're doing all the right things, but maybe they're not as data savvy, right? Or maybe they're not as analytical savvy, right? And now you're just like, how can we have generative AI be able to take a lot of this data that we're getting from customers, from surveys, from emails, from NPS scores, all this data, and now how can we leverage generative AI to produce models or recommendations or strategies or tactics that we can implement? Like that's where I can see like a great complementary use case that generative AI can have for CX professionals is that we know the customer, we're keeping them at the center, but we're not as savvy, we're not as data centric, we're not in like super snazzy and like using SAP Joule as Ben mentioned. But this is where that can complement that piece of it. So it's actually like you're bringing horsepower to your team that maybe the team doesn't have, right? That's a great way of leveraging it.